Have you ever considered making a podcast? Well, Spotify has a great platform that lets you make them very easily, distribute them everywhere. You can even earn money while doing so, and it's all in one place. And the best part, it's all for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and it's really simple to get started. So you record and edit your podcast right from your phone, your computer, whichever one that you like. And then when you publish them, they distribute your podcast directly to Spotify and also everywhere else that podcasts are heard. You can do video podcasts, you can interact with your audience with Q&As and polls. And once they're up and running, like I mentioned before, you can even earn money through your podcast in a variety of ways through things like ads and podcast subscriptions. And of course, it's totally free to use. There is no catch. When I started Plant School, I used Spotify for Podcasters, and I continue to use it because I love it. It's super easy to use, and it gives me everything that I need as a podcaster. So if you have ever wanted to start your own podcast, I highly recommend that you try out Spotify for Podcasters. You can download the app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. Welcome to the Plant School Podcast. I'm Rachel, and here we learn about plants, how to care for them, how they work, and I keep it simple and taught in a way that anyone from beginner to expert can enjoy. Join me in Plant School. Hello and welcome to Plant School. So happy to have you here this week. So today, before I dive into this episode, I realize that I have mentioned in the past few episodes that I'm going to choose a winner for my giveaway to win some Plant School merch, and I haven't done it yet. I still haven't chosen one, so this is me promising that next week I will choose a winner. Again, if you aren't sure what I'm talking about, this is a giveaway to help support the Plant School podcast. You share this podcast with a friend, could be a text, could be verbally, whatever is your preference, and then you let me know by messaging me on Instagram at Tenney Plants, Tenney Plants. And that is it. Once you've done that, I will enter you into this giveaway. And next week, on the next episode, I will announce who has won. Sorry that I have taken a little while longer than I wanted to, but I promise to do it next week. So, today you can see that this episode is going to be about the best plant care apps. I often have people ask for recommendations for plant apps, and it's just a really useful tool, honestly, to have an app reminding you when to incorporate different aspects of plant care like watering and pruning and fertilizing. If you're someone who uses your phone to remind you things daily, then plant care apps can be really helpful. And honestly, I think it's a better way to go because I like to just rely on my Peace Lily getting really droopy. And then I realize, oh my goodness, I haven't watered my plants in a while, and then I go and water them all. But I think an app would be a healthier way to go. And since I always have people asking me what my favorites are, I reviewed a ton of them. I downloaded 20 apps. So I searched plant care on the App Store, and I downloaded all the ones that looked promising. I didn't do all of them. I'm sure there were more. But at 20, we were kind of running dry on ones that looked good. And so for over a week, I have been testing them all out. The reminders I've been getting on my phone to water my plants have been a little chaotic. As you can imagine, that's 20 apps telling me, hey, water your plant. Water your plant. Did you water your plant? Please check it off. So I wouldn't recommend doing all 20. But I'm going to tell you what I found out, which ones were the best, which ones I actually recommend for you using, and which ones I loved and am going to keep on my phone. I'll mention all 20 that I did, but I'm not going to spend time on all of them because I know you as a listener, you don't want to hear a detailed list of 20 apps. You want to know which ones are going to work for you. So let's dive right in. All right, so I'm going to start with the worst, and then we're going to go up from there. So we're going to end with the best of the best. So again, I'm going to be rating these and kind of putting my opinion on these of, do they help us care for our plants? Are they useful to us as a houseplant owner? So the first app that got the worst score, its name was Flourish. Looks like it should be spelled flourish, but it was flourish. Maybe like a play on words of flora and flourish. I'm not sure. But it got a 0 out of 10. Reason why? It didn't work, and it wouldn't let me create an account no matter how many times I tried. So, sorry, Flourish, but someone needs to fix you. Alright, so second app I tried was Plant Daddy. And apparently I had downloaded this app a while ago. I noticed kind of a trend as I went on, and I must have been downloading these apps about a year ago and looking into them, because a lot of them were like, you should have watered this plant a year ago and you need to mark this off as done. So this was one of them. Plant Daddy notified me that I had a plant a year ago that I should have watered. Thank goodness I did, and I've kept watering it. But Plant Daddy, it was really simple. You could add in a plant, set up a reminder for the frequency that you need for the reminder to happen, and that's it. It was kind of underwhelming. Like, those were the only features to the app, but really not helpful if you aren't sure when to water, if you don't know what plant you have. It's literally just a timer, so therefore I give it a 2 out of 10. And so this next one is also a 2 out of 10. This app was called Lettuce Grow. And again, all these showed up when I typed in plant care app. So Lettuce Grow was actually just an app to promote their product, not really a plant care app. And it was promoting this farm stand that was self-fertilizing. It was really cool. It was like this hydroponic garden tower. It was rather expensive. Their smallest one was $400. Their largest one was $700. And that was just for the tower. That's like not with any of the extra stuff that you might need. But the app did have plant identification, but you needed an account. And I tried to create one, but it would send me to their website to buy their product. So it was a little confusing. So not really great if you don't have the product. So again, toss this one out of your memory because it's not helpful. 2 out of 10. All right, next app was named Tierra, and it was a really simple app. So you go in, you can name your plant and add it in. It will not help you identify it. You need to know what your plant is already, and you can set reminders. You can only have it daily or weekly, and you choose the time. But since there was no identification, basically just a plant timer similar to Plant Daddy, and it only had a daily or weekly option, like what if you need to water your plant every 9 days? Nope, you can't do that on this app. So Tierra, you got a 3 out of 10. So next app was Planter. It had ads, but otherwise was free. So if you're into the free stuff, this one might be for you. You can add your plant. Again, there is no plant database for you to search anything. This was something with my lower rating ones you can see was really frustrating for me, because like if you don't know what your plant is and you're wanting help with this app to tell you how to care for it, this app is no help. It's only for people who know how to care for their plants and know when to water them. So then why would you really need an app for it? I thought it was kind of silly that they wouldn't have a plant database to help you figure out what kind of plant you have. These lower ones, none of them really had it. This one, Planter, would let you set different care needs like watering, fertilizing, sunlight, rotation, all these fun things. And then once you've done it, you just tap on the icon and it'll automatically set it for the next time you need to do it. But with it not being very personalized, having no plant identification, and the ads were kind of annoying, the Planter app gets a 5 out of 10 for me. Okay, so this next one, we're getting into some decent ones, okay? This one was Happy Plant. This one was really kind of fun and different. So there was a $2 one-time fee to let you have unlimited plants on there. I thought this was really reasonable because, like I said, they start to get really expensive. Not really expensive, just more expensive. But it was very well made. It even had these punny plant jokes, which I appreciated. And basically what you do is you add a picture of your plant. You set when you want it to remind you to water it. And when you do this, it's like a mandatory picture each time. That way, it'll create a time lapse of your plant. So it'll show your plant over time. After you've been watering it for like 6 months, you have all these pictures and it will compile it for you and show you this time lapse of your plant, hopefully growing, hopefully doing something. And I just thought it was kind of cool. Maybe something I would use with having like my Tinny Plants Instagram. I think it would be a really cool way to document my plants and have something be reminding me to be taking pictures of my plants with each time I water. But because this isn't something that really helps you take care of your plants as far as like informing you on what the plant needs and telling you what the plant is, I gave it a 6 out of 10. It was a really cool app, but not so much for plant care. It's something to kind of document your plants. So if that's something you're into, Happy Plant app could be fun. This next one was also a 6 out of 10. It's one that I thought was really fun, but it wasn't so much of a plant care app. Again, why did these all show up under plant care and tell me that they could care for my plants? I am not sure. So this one's name was Candid, with an E at the end. Maybe it's Candide. Basically, this was more of like a community app for houseplant people, gardeners, wildlife enthusiasts, and it was basically like social media for plant people, which is kind of sweet. It's like totally my jam. I am on there. I haven't posted anything, but I've definitely commented on people's stuff. You can find local gardens near you, which near me I found a total of 0. I'm not sure if they're really present over here. It's like a worldwide community, so I'm not really sure how widespread it is. But they had helpful articles on all sorts of subjects that you could read, and then you could obviously be looking at people's posts and be commenting and helping them identify things. In the realm of helping you with plant care, not so great, but it's kind of like social media for plant people, which was cool. 6 out of 10 would be higher if there was some sort of plant care element to it. If I was doing a podcast episode on social media for plant people, this would be higher up there. All right, so the next app was Gardania, and this one, or maybe it's Gardenia. Wow, I'm really great at promoting these apps, huh? But it was really well made. There were like a few bugs though. So you could add in your schedules, how often you want to be repotting your plant, watering your plant, pruning, when to harvest, so you could do indoor or outdoor plants. But it had this option to diagnose plant problems, but because of the bugs on the app, none of it was working. So because of that, it got a 6 out of 10. If everything was working on the Gardania app, I would probably give it a higher rating. It's unfortunate that a lot of these apps, I think maybe just people don't use them so much, and so they fall out of use. And different bugs, or maybe they haven't done updates in a while, just they kind of bite the dust slowly. So next one was Steward, and we're getting into like the 7 out of 10. So these ones are actually pretty good. This one was $10 a month or $50 a year, kind of on the higher side of what you can pay for plant apps. So that didn't thrill me very much. You can add in plants from their library. They don't help you identify them, but they do have a large database. It had this really cool feature to do like a light scan of your room to see how much light you're getting in your room. And if you pay, you can diagnose plant problems. And of course, it had the care reminders, things like that. It had a plant journal that you can take notes on. But because there was no plant identification and those care reminders were more generalized and the high price, I gave it a 7 out of 10. We're going to take a quick break to hear from this week's podcast sponsor. And when we come back, we will get right back to reviewing these plant care apps and get into the really good ones that will actually help you care for your plants and I think are some of the best plant care apps out there.
The Podcasting University, a podcast where we show you how to get started with your own podcast and make money from it through simple step-by-step tips, advices, and instructions. Listen to successful podcasters as they talk about their journey, the difficulties that they faced, and how they made it to where they are today. You can visit thepodcastinguniversity.com for more details.
Listen to the 48 Hours podcast for shocking murder cases and compelling real-life dramas from one of television's most watched true crime shows. Go behind the scenes of each episode with award-winning CBS News correspondents and producers in Postmortem, a weekly deep dive. Listen to 48 Hours wherever you get your podcasts.
The next app is Carl. This is another great option. unfortunately still kind of on the higher price side, which is interesting because as I go on, there are a few 10 out of 10s. And these ones kind of that are so close to being great are kind of expensive. So this one was $8 per week or $200 for a lifetime purchase, which I'm sorry, but that is just too much. Maybe it's because like I'm young and I don't throw out money willy-nilly, but that's just a lot. There was a 75% off sale for $50 for a lifetime purchase, which seems much more reasonable, but still. So you could add in your plants and you could get personalized care tips. It would take into consideration things like what is the pot size, what's the temperature in your home, so that they could give you a suggestion on when, how much to water, when to fertilize it. Had a built-in light meter so you could see how much sun your plant is getting. You just test it out and it can put that into your plant care for that plant. And then you can take photos and get a disease diagnosis, which seemed to be partially accurate. I tried it out and it seemed to work pretty well. So all in all, it had great suggestions on how much and when to fertilize. The only thing was that it was a little bit expensive and there was no way to set reminders. It would tell you when to do it, but it would not have reminders that would be coming into your phone to tell you to water your plants or fertilize your plants. So that one got a 7 out of 10. Still a great app. Next one was the Plant Care app. So this one had a $25 fee, and the thing that was cool about this one is that it had a 3D plant modeling in your room. So I may or may not have added like a dozen angel wing begonias onto my bed just to test it out. I just wanted to see how it looked, and it was actually pretty cool. You can like put it in a space and see how those plants look. The free version only lets you test out angel wing begonias, but once you buy it, you can use any plants and see how they look in your home. So if you're like into interior design, this one could be really cool for you. It's decently priced, it's simple. You could set a variety of reminders once you pay for it. The downside of this one is that it was limited to just indoor plants. So if you are into gardening, this one wouldn't cater to that. And the free version really wasn't worth it. So you'd need to pay the $25 per year. So Plant Care gets a 7 out of 10. Okay, and getting into the 8 out of 10 ratings was Vera. This one was free. You could search for the plants to add, although you couldn't identify it with like a picture or anything. You would have to search for it yourself. You set the reminders for the frequency that you need for all sorts of different care items, and it even had blog post pages with lots of helpful articles. The only con was that it doesn't help you identify plants, and there was no troubleshooting help if you have like a plant disease. So I gave it an 8 out of 10. Now here we are. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that I actually really like. So these are the 5 that I would recommend, kind of just depending on your needs. The first one was Smart Plant and Tree. I've talked about this one before. This one's $35 a year. I do have a code that takes $5 off, so it's only $30 a year. And it's not just for houseplants, it's for gardening and landscaping, and you can add in your own houseplants, outdoor plants, and it'll tell you how to care for them and create tasks that will set reminders for you. You can add wish list plants if you are into collecting houseplants and you want to keep track of what you're wanting. There's a whole section to help you identify weeds and pests and disease. And then you can also use their tool to find plants to fit outdoor spaces or indoor spaces. And you can like set up filters to find exactly what you need. Like if you want edible plants that fit in this zone, it'll give you ideas on that. So overall, it's like a really great tool for indoor and outdoor. And then you can be asking an expert when you have a question or you have a plant disease or something and you aren't sure what to do, and they will answer you. And it's really great. No offense to like Facebook groups, but that is a lot of opinions coming at you when you go onto a plant group and ask a question. So this way you don't really have to deal with those people and all of their opinions. You just ask an expert and they get back to you really quick. Of course, that option is with the paid version to ask an expert. The app on this one is just like a little busy. It does take some time to get to know, so it got a 9 out of 10. Next app is Plant Parent. This one as well. It can do indoor and outdoor plants. It was only $30 a year. You could take photos and get help with your plant problems. Pretty similar in ability with the Smart Plant and Tree app, just not as many features. And their reminders were just a little generalized. There's no lighting scan or personalized questions, so that one got a 9 out of 10 as well. Next, we have Planta. And apparently this was one of those apps that I had downloaded earlier because I was a year late on watering my peace lily. This one's $35 a year. You can find a plant by identifying it or by searching for it. It has a light meter. That was one of the things that was missing on Plant Parent. So Planta has a light meter, has helpful care guides, helpful info on every plant. It gives advice and reminders for overwintering your plant, which was something I hadn't seen any other app do. I think it's a reasonable price, gave great advice, had great articles, could help you set up care routines. Oh, but the only thing is that they won't let you set your own personalized reminders. They actually schedule it for you, so you can't really go in and change it. And there is no free trial with this one. You just have to jump right in, but it got a 9 out of 10 for me. Okay, we're almost done. These were the ones that I loved. Just like cream of the crop. In my opinion, they just hit the nail on the head. So first one that got a 10 out of 10 was Blossom. Now this one's $30 a year. It had a 3-day free trial, which I tried out the free trial. And on the homepage, there's lots of helpful blog posts, DIY articles, and then of course you can add in your plants. You can organize them by room, set care reminders. And this is what I loved. It gave you suggestions on how frequently you should water your plant, but it didn't make you do that. You got to set up how you like it. So for example, I stuck in my peace lily. It would say you should water this plant about every 8 days. And I know that my plants in general can go a longer period of time. That's just kind of how I have groomed them to be. I don't water them super often, and I soak them when I do so that their roots go really deep. And so I do it about every week and a half so that my plants can survive periods when I'm gone. And so I loved how it gave me a suggestion, but then it let me decide what my plant needs. On the Blossom app, you can also take photos and figure out your plant problems. I tested this out with a plant I knew what I had been doing wrong. I had not watered it consistently, and it came back correctly. I took the pictures and it said it was a watering issue. And then you can take it one step further and you can ask a botanist for help if you didn't really like the answer or you need more explanation on what is wrong. So really, this app had everything. It was easy to navigate. It educated you, had so much information on it, let you set the tasks and recommended what they thought you should do, but it let you choose it, and it caters to not only beginners, but also to experts, and it's very reasonably priced at $30 a year. So I didn't have any cons for this app, and I gave it a 10 out of 10. And my last app that I loved that got a 10 out of 10 was also $30 a year, or there was a free version. And actually the free version is pretty usable, which I loved. It also would let you use a 3-month free trial of the upgraded version, which was the longest period out of any of these apps. Most of them were 3 days or 5 days or none at all. So 3 months I felt like was really generous. So on the homepage of this app, I don't think I mentioned it, the name of the app is Greg, which is really random, but it's a really sweet app. So yeah, name of the app is Greg, it has a little leaf on it. Homepage is a social page where people can post and ask questions. It seems pretty active. When I was on there, the newest post had been 2 hours ago. So people are on there posting really actively. And then there's a discover page, which you can read about plants. You can find them according to categories. You can click on easy to propagate and it'll give you all these different plants that are easy to propagate. You can add plants in and it will help you identify it. With a picture, you don't have to know exactly what it is. It can help you out there. And then when you put in a plant, it asks you all these in-depth questions so that you can have personalized care for your plant. So it would be what's the size of the pot? How far is your plant from the window? How many hours of direct sunlight does it get? Is it near a heater, etc., etc.? It went on and on. You can add as much info as you want. But from that, it was able to give you a really personalized care guide on this is how often you should water it, how often you should fertilize it, and you can go in, add photos, track the plant, snooze your alerts if you need to. I feel like this one is perfect for beginners who have no idea how much water their plant needs or how much it needs to be fertilized. And this one, Greg, the app, gives you educated help on all of those things. The premium version also lets you use expert advice chat, is what they call it. So you can talk with a botanist on, if your plant is having a problem, they can help you with that. Loved it. Easy to use. The social aspect was really fun. It's reasonably priced. It's well made. My only cons with this one, I still gave it a 10 out of 10, but there were no blog posts with this one, no how to build your own terrarium, read here. And also it won't let you edit the watering dates since it creates it for you. But because they ask so many questions, I feel like I'm okay with that. I feel like they're actually giving me an educated answer on how much it should be watered. So if you want a plant app, I highly recommend Blossom or Greg. Both of those are perfect for indoor plant owners. Blossom, I think, actually did outdoor plants too, but both of them were just exactly what I feel like a plant owner needs in reminding them and also having these really cool features and helping them take care of their plants. Again, both of those were only $30 a year. And if you try those out and you're not so sure, they weren't so great, the other three that were 9 out of 10 were Planta, Plant Parent, or Smart Plants and Tree. All of those were great options too. Just Blossom and Greg were my favorite. Anyways, I hope you guys found this episode helpful. I get asked this a lot, so I just wanted to cover some of the mishaps that these apps do and then some of the best ones and all the great fun things you can do. Definitely think it can be a worthy investment, especially if you have a lot of plants and you just need some help with knowing how to care for them or being a part of a community that can help you care for them. I hope you guys will join me next week, especially since I will be announcing the giveaway winner again. Enter in by sharing it with someone. Help this community grow. I really appreciate all you guys do to help Plant School podcast keep going. Even just sharing it with someone means the world to me, and I really do appreciate it. Have a great week. Thank you for being here and listening today, and I hope you'll join me next week. If you'd like to support this podcast and keep it going, you can find the support link below in the description and donate. Or I have some awesome Plant School merch, including stickers, shirts, and mugs, and the link to my shop is in the description as well. And if you don't want to spend any money but still support the podcast, share this podcast with a friend, either verbally or electronically. This will even qualify you for my giveaway. Just message me on Instagram at TinnyPlant that you shared the podcast with a friend, and you'll be entered in for a chance to win some goodies. Winners will be announced on the podcast. Again, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great week.